we thought would be a good idea in the first instance, before closing remarks and so forth, we wanted to get something out of you. We wanted to know, are there any particular issues or themes that you feel have been valuable that you'd like to take back with you from the sessions from yesterday and today? What do you think? It doesn't have to be all of you, but just a selection of you if you could raise it with us. What do you think particularly you have learnt, or is there anything you will take back and change your practice when you go back to your own country? Anyone willing to kick off a discussion on that subject? Hello. Sorry. Next.
I'm from Jordan. First of all, I would like to thank the KC people for the organization, and also the campus office gave us this opportunity to be in this study visit. In fact, the issues raised in this study visit are very pertinent, very useful, and very valuable. Myself, I'm participating in a series of lectures at the University of Jordan, the public and the private universities. I talk about the Bologna process, and I talk about the graduate attributes and employability. In fact, these are the issues. So, in fact, when I will go back, I will arrange so that part of my presentations will be related to the student support services. And I will make use of all these presentations made here, and also I'll take the material itself. I will modify it to take, in order to take into consideration our environment and our local considerations, in fact. But I'll make use of all these presentations. I have, in fact, in this visit, I have learned many aspects related to student funding. This is an important issue. I don't think just not only in England and in UK, in our part of the world, because the students, even in public universities, they pay fee. So we are trying to introduce a new system for the fee, and also how the role of the university to support the student union activities, and the role of the student union activities in the universities. And a very important issue is the supporting of the career development and the employability. We think that this is a very important issue, so that I can carry it with me. And also the role of the student as a partner, rather than as a recipient, and the position of the student in the center, at the center of the teaching learning process. An important issue, I have learned the psychological concept that we should raise it in our universities, so that how we can help our students to overcome some psychological problems when they join the university. Especially, we have students coming from different backgrounds and different environments, so they will face some problems related to the psychological issues. And also however, some issues I would like to learn more about it. The role of the students in the quality assurance. We talk about the quality assurance, but not the role of the students in the quality assurance issue. And also, not just only the quality assurance, the benchmarking, the process. I think it's very important. Very slightly being touched, the issue of benchmarking. So if we talk about the King's College case, you benchmark it with whom? In order to say that this is of the high standards, or the low standards, or the medium standards. Are you benchmark with yourself or with some others? You think that it's worth it to benchmark? Well, I think the benchmarking concept is important.
Could I raise one point about benchmarking, which we haven't spent a lot of time on, and we alluded to it.
Yeah.
But one of the things which I think everyone is grappling with, which is the subject of a presentation on its own, I think, is the issue of how you measure student satisfaction. And there's a big piece of work in the UK, the Student Services organisation called MOSHI. I don't know if you've heard of MOSHI. They're looking at this issue of value and impact. How do you measure the value and the impact of a student services intervention? And one thing we're really struggling with is how we measure success. Particularly in my role, what do my teams offer in the intervention of students that will actually improve experience? That's a very, very difficult thing to manage. Now, what I wanted to say is, we've given you some information in the handouts, but just so that you know, if you want to pursue any of the themes that you just mentioned in more detail, if you all drop me an email and keep in contact with me, Gary.Horrocks, it's in the handout, I will be more than willing to send you much more supplementary documentation. So, for example, we have an employability and career strategy, and there's lots of stuff we've got which I think will be of benefit to you. We didn't want to bombard you with information today, but feel free to drop me an email and I'd be delighted to offer you.
There is only just another 2 points. Is there a certain policy towards the graduates? Is there a university policy or college policy related to the graduates?
Well, we have an independent graduate school. So what I'll do is I will ensure that you, actually, that's another presentation you could
do you mean graduates or do you mean alumni?
Alumni is, the graduates. Before it's the graduates, it's not the alumni.
Are we talking about research graduates, short graduates, not?
Undergraduates, there must be a certain policy in the university. What is the shape of the graduate will be? And finally, it has been mentioned the Higher Education Achievement Records, which is equivalent to the European Diploma Supplement. We would like to see live examples of those higher education achievement records.
It's easy.
I can send, we can send all kinds of...
Actually, you could, if you just Google here UK, you get, there's a whole range of stuff, or, and the Burgess report, there's pieces of information about it here, including example, including advice to universities about how they implemented it. So on their website, so just HEAR, probably you might have to put UK, I mean, if you do it from the UK, you get straight on to there.
And just to say though, even more useful than that, we grappled with here locally as well, so there's plenty of local documentation. We have a project called KISS to Here, which is literally the whole journey from the information sets and the transparency all the way through to the achievement record.
Thank you very much.
I won't send you anything.
I really enjoyed very much, and it was very useful for me.
No, that's very helpful. Thank you so much. Can I move on to another colleague? Anyone else?
Well, thank you very much for excellent organizing of the event and for the really very comprehensive and presentations. We had the honor to listen and really for useful information we received during these 2 days. Well, for me, this event was especially important because when I was a member of my university administration, I established in my institution student support services at the Central University Administration and at the faculties. But frankly, my vision of student support and student services was not enough. It was too narrow, I think. And now, after these 2 days, I see student support and student services as more wide, more complex issue, which is very important for me. It was a surprise because now I see that in my country, at least, when we say student service, student support, we mean more technical issues, more administrative support. But now, after this study tour, I see that this issue has different dimensions, and which is very important to provide really high-quality education to our students. Well, and I picked up some ideas about future developments of my institution. I like very much this psychological support you provide to your students. I think that there will be some difficulties in my country because of, I'm not sure that our students may accept such service, but I think that we should start to think about it. I like very much personal tutoring. At my institution, at Tbilisi State University, we have tutors, academic tutors, but the job they're doing is not very satisfactory, and I think that it will be very nice to have to prepare special training courses for them. And, maybe I'll contact you again. There to say, to receive more information. And I'd like to stress the information gained about the student union, because in the countries of Soviet bloc, the student unions, as I say, as I have this impression, mainly deal with political issues, and they are less interested in academic issues and our issues in university development. Yeah. And I'm very jealous how involved your student union is in academic issues and in the development issues of the university. And I would like to share this information to our students' unions too. And I'm not sure that it may help, but it's important to show to them that the students should be involved in the development issues of the university much more than in political issues, my own impression. Well, and for me personally, the most important presentation was about quality assurance, because I deal with quality assurance issues at my country since 2005, when we established quality, when we joined Bologna process and established quality assurance issues. We started from my university, we tried to contact QAA, but this to receive more information, to collaborate, but this organization is quite closed, and I'm very happy that I managed to receive information from the person which deals with quality assurance issues and has information about QAA too. Thank you.
Now, again, so many things just to quickly respond to. Again, I'm more than happy to send it to the QAA is doing some significant work in student welfare now. So they're actually, they've drafted a document, which I think the deadline for feedback, literally focusing on student support services. So I think it's very much more heavily on the radar now. It's definitely coming in as a key concern. If you don't look after health, well-being, welfare, teaching and learning experiences is not going to be good. So that's really one thing about counselling, which I didn't raise yesterday, but it's something we're grappling with, is the resource-intensive nature of counselling. When you've got 24,000 students, it's becoming very difficult to deliver a high-end service to that many students. So we are looking very much at online support for health and wellbeing as well. And there is a wonderful tool which has been developed here at King's at the Institute of Psychiatry, which is almost like a wellbeing tool which actually teaches students how to relax, how to manage stress. And we actually think there's probably a middle ground we can deliver to deliver health and wellbeing to the majority of students without necessarily having to escalate everything to high-end psychological intervention. So there's a big discussion to be had in the UK around, some universities don't have counselling services, some of them have outsourced them, some of them are relying on referral to the NHS, the National Health Service. It's a very, very complex issue that we're trying to deal with here, and I think we're not there yet. So I don't want you to go away thinking that having a high-end service is necessarily always going to work. We're continually reviewing that. And I'm willing to share that with you, that journey with you. So I'll just go to the centre of the table for now. So,
yes, well, I can but second my colleagues on this study visit. I would like to say it in this way. We started the visit by Mr. Craig, the head of administration, who presented constraints, the 90 constraints, saying that it is an opportunity. And really, you took us in a journey, a full journey, where you showed how we transform this constraint into really an opportunity for placing the student in the center of the process, at least in the services. Three words will remain in my head, in the back of my head. The first and most important is the care. You really care about the student in a very fine way. You go into all the details, from employability, which is actually a major issue, to the psychological health, to protecting the student from pitfalls on social media. Well, all aspects. So care has been used to the extreme. Another word that remains in me is efficiency. You try to do this care with a lot of efficiency due to the constraint that has been mentioned earlier. We have heard about common services and how you try to manage common services and profit from the environment. And the third word, and maybe this one, I will say it later, integrated approach. I felt throughout this journey, throughout this day and a half, that every and single person who presented an issue is very professional, is mastering his domain, but it's like a common word across all the presentation. This reflects or this shows a reflective approach and a lot of communication among the whole team of presenters. And this is certainly something that I wanted to know more about. I mean, how coordination is done at the structural level, how you succeeded to have this team working together with this good communication, targeting the same objective, which reflects so nicely on the result. And I think that, unfortunately, this is a major tool in order to make this thing a success, and we did not get a lot. I think, Gary, you have told us a little bit how you organize your direction, but this needs a little bit more details. And
You have to come back to London.
yeah, I think I have to.
Yeah. Well, I can come to you.
Yeah.
I'm open to invitations.
Yeah. So, just a few words, and go back.
I need a break. They need to let me out of the video. Should we, I think a gentleman over here is, well, there's a lady in the back. Yeah.
I would say also thank you very much for this today's very comprehensive seminar and a lot of I think questions that we put ourselves. We find of course the answers, but in my country, I am from Moldova, I would say that not all of them we can just now implement. And I would like to know, because who is our client, student or employees, the employers? You know, because for quality assurance is very important also the employers. I mean, how you involve them in this quality assurance, or how you involve them to form the platform for quality assurance. This is one. Second, I put the question how you involve them in order to develop the infrastructure, because our infrastructure, university infrastructure in our country, I think in all countries which came from Soviet Union, are very poor, and therefore how to involve them. And another question is, because of the ministry, our ministry, not a lot of people, not enough capacities, I would say. Sometimes, and very often, not sometimes, but very often, they involved us in their tasks. And now we have a task I told to John, how to calculate, how to justify the cost per student. Because we discussed a lot around this, and this cost, I mean, from the ministry, from the government, from the state, this cost should be, I think, it's not only my opinion, but the opinion of my colleagues from all universities, rectors and so on, that should take into consideration domain of studies, I mean technical area, pedagogical arts or medicine and so on. Because now in our country doesn't, the floor, the cost per student, doesn't mean I use this money, I mean what domain of study. And I'd like to know, I know that we cannot copy your experience, and maybe the university, your college is not involved in this let's say discussion with the ministry or the funding council. Yeah. But how how you finance based on the number of students, or you negotiate with them performance of your university and so on. This part, I think, maybe it's not directly linked to the theme of which we discussed now, but.
Okay, well, I could be here all day on that. Yeah, I think Hillary did allude to the fact that the QAA is pervasive within the organisation. Everyone plays a part. It's part of our day-to-day life. It has to be for teaching staff. That's students. It's all embracing. But I can send you more information there. The student finance issue is hugely complicated and still is. And I think is it John?
Yeah.
It's philosophically, politically still very, very sensitive.
I think one of the interesting things also, I'm sure this happens in King's, is that if you, as it were, forget for a second where the money comes from, most universities will have what we would call a resource allocation model. So they've got however many 100 million, they will have a model for how they're going to allocate that within the institution, both to services like the student experience, to the central, to the faculty, to the department. And that will be within the institution, generally quite a complex model.
Hugely complicated.
Which will be subject to negotiation because it really does affect. So you've got some very bright academics who will home in straight away on what the finance office may say should be, and there's quite a lot of iteration, but it's a key element now in management and organisation of UK universities, the resource allocation model, the parameters of that, what spare money there is, what element you keep for bidding, so it's a very, very complex issue. And that is to be distinguished between the way in which the funding comes from outside. And as, I forget which colleague yesterday put it very well, in many subject areas now, there is the only funding is the tuition fee, except in the science, technology, engineering and medicine, where there is still some funding from the government. But the bulk of funding now is the tuition fee. So the big driver for your funding is your students.
Could I raise a point too? I mean, again, Steve Large didn't go, our Director of Finance didn't go into huge detail, but there is a very complex resource allocation model. There are, as you indicated, domain-specific considerations around science and non-science. I'm willing to go back and see whether we can share some of that with you for your information after today. I think, regardless of tuition fees, we are grappling continually with this issue of hidden costs. And again, hidden costs can invariably tend to be a problem for the science health area. So we're grappling at the moment with beyond the tuition fee. There are additional costs. Printing, when you go into a library, you print. That's an additional cost. So there's an argument, well, why should it be? If I'm paying my tuition fee, why do I have to pay for printing? So there's a whole debate there. And I'm sure Bernadette would back me up that, medical students, there's issues of criminal record bureau checks when they go into the NHS, placement costs. So there's a huge debate around costing beyond the tuition fee.
Also, the other thing in an institution like King's, which is research intensive, is the whole way in which research is funded. And for a long time now, and it's under a bit of attack, there has been an approach to having transparent funding of research through a mechanism called TRAC, which means that universities are expected, and they're subject to audit, on getting full economic costing of their research. That's costing as opposed to pricing. So I think that is another area of considerable complexity. And there is, as I say, a lot of debate about whether TRAC works or not.
Yeah.
But I think it is a different, it's another sense.
It depends on set of priorities, you know.
Good, good.
Actually, can I just take one, because I'm wary of the time, I want to invite two speakers for closure. Can we have, is there one more person who wants to share their, so?
Yeah, I'd like to share a few of my take-home observations. First and foremost, I want to thank the organizers for the opportunity for this fascinating in-depth look at one of the global leading institutions, certainly, in the United Kingdom. I think we've all come away with a lot of new knowledge, which is not always the case when this is, I think, my 6th seminar of this type, and by far the level of knowledge that's been conveyed to us over the past day and a half surpasses anything that I've come across in the past 3-4 years. It's quite evident that there's a strong culture of reason processes here at King's College, and that stems from what I believe to be a strong visionary leadership. So certainly there's a top-down model of leadership and looking at these global issues. Clearly, though, from each of the presentations, it's quite clear that there's also a bottom-up approach. Not that you're at the bottom, but that there's this duality going on here at King's College, which is very fruitful. I have a few more comments that are disjointed. We'll just take them as they come. It's also clear to me that you have a strong appreciation for cultural and historical preservation. Just looking at the buildings and how you relate to your property here. Of course, I can just echo what has already been said, and I also use the word caring. It's clear that you put the students in the center of your entire operation, and that comes academically, and that also is seen in all the different services that you provide. If I need to use one word to sum it up, it seems that well-being is the centerpiece of King's College, certainly for the students, but clear to me also in engaging with the different presenters over the past day and a half, that well-being also goes down to the faculty and to the administration. For a semi-old institution, comparatively, at least to our institutions back at home, you have what I would see as a certain young spirit and vitality, which is very encouraging, and I take that home to our institution. Teamwork, you seem to all work well together and enjoy working together, which I think is probably the key ingredient to succeeding in no matter what you do. You prepare for dynamic, sudden change, what some of us call agility education, which in a time of rapid change and unpredictable change, that's clearly clearly important. Curriculum design and review, building with skills and knowledge, leading to employability, as has been said by others. With the centerpiece, your innovative centerpiece, tutoring and mentorship, again, just reinforces what I see as the student at King's College is never alone. Academically, professionally.
All these wonderful sound bites. Are we capturing this on? This is fantastic.
You can pay me later.
Do I really work here?
The last point, and I said this also yesterday, you have perhaps I'm wrong, you have a healthy criticism of Bologna, which is not surprising given that we're in England, and there's a healthy criticism of everything European. We also share, soundbite, we also share that back home in Israel, and the advantage to us is, since we're not a signatory party to Bologna, we're free to adopt what we think is relevant to us and not to adopt what's relevant to us. So whereas we, at least at home, have all come to the conclusion that we have to adopt the diploma supplement, you too, although you call it by a different name, which is perfectly fine. But going back to the healthy criticism of Bologna, it's clear that notwithstanding, you have a deep appreciation for the international positioning of King's College. 24% student body from abroad is a fantastic statistic. So again, you have a clear, and with this I'll conclude, a clear appreciation for the global issues, and as I said at the outset, you have a clear mandate to deal with those issues coming from the principal all the way down to the various workers. And for me, that's the take-home message, that we have to work together to address these pressing issues.
Well, I feel like applauding you for that. That's fantastic. I'm very worried the fact that we have two closing speakers, and I know that John would like to say a few words. There I have it all sorted. But before I invite John to say a few words, can I remind you all? I think there's two things I need to remind you. Could you please fill in the evaluation form before you leave? I know you're very keen to get the evaluation. And if you recall, there is the tour of Somerset House. If you want to sign up for that, or just talk to Lorna, who will make sure that you are where to meet and so forth. But before you do your closing talk, can I just say I want to personally thank Lorna for the two of us have been, you know, all the housekeeping, the organisation, the catering. I've been focusing on the programme and the speakers. I think she's done an exceptional job, and I'll definitely be making sure that when we've calmed down in the next day or two, we'll be going out for a meal, and I'll be thanking her personally for her efforts. Thank you. Can I hand over to John?
Thank you very much. To add to that, I'm just slightly worried about the last colleague detecting a sceptical and critical view of Bologna. I must say I didn't pick that up quite so well. And I speak as somebody who has a very serious disease, a classified disease in the UK. I am actually a Europhile, and a fanatical Europhile. So that's a disease in the UK, classified. But what I think, first of all, I would like to thank King's College and the organisers for involving the UK Bologna group in this, because actually we are colleagues in the whole process. And in my view, it's not correctly named. I don't think it is about reform, because I have visited very many of the Tempest countries, and everywhere I've been, I have seen high quality, particularly among the students, their commitment to work and their ability, even with poorer facilities and so on, and the quality of the academic staff is impressive. So I don't think reform is the right word. I think it is what all of us are about in universities. It's about embracing change and quality enhancement in higher education, rather than reform, which sounds as though there's something, you know, certainly I need reform, but I don't think it gives the wrong tone of quality. But what I think came really out of the whole of these 2 days for me is the sheer professionalism of all the staff. The quality of the presentations was professional. It wasn't somebody had sort of thought on the way on the tube, what am I going to say? It was a professional presentation. And that tells me something else about the contemporary university. If you want to embrace change and have a culture of quality enhancement, it is not sufficient simply to have fantastic academics. You have also to have fantastic and highly qualified and motivated support and administrative staff. Otherwise, the institution cannot deliver what it wants. And I think that would be something that, from my visits around, I think may be an issue that you need to perhaps address in some countries, is the quality of the support staff. And the presentations we had today were and yesterday were of the highest quality. I really can't say that strongly enough. So I think that I've learned a great deal, even though I think I know a little bit about the UK system. I've learned and got some new insights, not least into the Twitter world. And I think that the other thing which came out to me very strongly, not only the nature of King's as a global institution, but actually our presence here indicates the global nature of the higher education venture, that we actually share with one another all the issues which were described. We approached them in slightly different ways and with slightly different resources and so on, but nevertheless, our need to listen, to learn, to talk, to share, and it's a two-way process. So I really want to say thank you. So I appreciate it so much for the organisation and the quality of the presentations, and also my chance to meet some old friends and somebody I'm working with in a project with, and it's been brilliant.
Thank you very much for that. Finally, I'm going to hand over to Shai for the closing remarks.
Thank you. Just a few minutes, also on behalf of the European Commission, of the Executive Agency, to thank you very much warmly for the preparation of this event, for hosting us at King's College. It has been a very detailed, exhaustive program, very interesting program. I also would like to underline the high qualification of the speaker, the professionalism of the speaker, and it was really, really interesting. I really also appreciate the study visit, which is a new instrument that is proposed by UNICA to the European Commission, to the attention of what we call the higher education reform expert, or the higher education modernization expert. And this is in order to provide the opportunity to meet directly academic staff, administrative staff, students who are working on the field, on the spot, on the ground, taking care of a specific issue, detailed issue, and the opportunity to listen to their experience, to share their experience, to discuss and exchange with them. And also the team was very well chosen. Actually, the team has been proposed, requested by the National Campus Office coordinators in the campus countries. And once again, I mentioned it yesterday, I think that the choice of King's College was very, very appropriate. And I think also that, because here we have put together people from the campus countries, that means from non-EU countries, but I'm quite sure it would also be relevant for many EU colleagues from EU universities to attend such an event here at King's College and to listen to your experience, because I'm not sure that the level is so high in all our institutions in the EU. We learned that King's College again places students at the heart of the system, and that based on this concept, that the college proposes a full range of very high level quality services, taking into account the nature of the students. I think that you call it the taxonomy. The list of the very impressive and list of services that you are providing, from support to the employability, sport facilities, a library in each of your campuses, financial support through loan to students, distance learning, psychological counseling support, tutoring as well. And I'm quite sure that it is also very important, as you do, to provide a support portfolio in a way it is integrated in the student daily life. I think that definitely it should have an added value for the student during the study term, but even after, during their whole life. Also, I think, and this is something that I can share with the participants, that there are many examples that we have discussed, many initiatives that can be more or less easily transposed to their own universities, because many things are very detailed, there has to be discussed, studied, but does not require any huge financial investment behind. So there are certainly many initiatives that you have discussed that can be extended in the universities of the different countries who are present here. As you know, and as Klaus mentioned it yesterday morning, this is an event in the framework of the Tempus program, and the framework of, I don't have to introduce the Tempus programs, I think know that everybody knows it, and to remind you again that we have published last November the sixth call for proposal with a deadline end of March, and that all the universities, partner countries in the EU can apply for projects. So really encourage you to think about that. And especially this call, because we have much more money than previously. We have around 150 million euro. That means that we are expecting to select around 170, 180 proposals. The proposal, of course, have to be very good, but it means that there are some additional margin of opportunities. And by the way, the topic that we discussed today is in principle something which really fits with the kind of proposal that we are financing, taking into account the priority of the different countries, but it is also something that you could propose. So you might be requested to have a joint initiative with some partner universities and then organize a joint project. In addition to the projects that are financed by Tempus, we have also added some additional component that we call accompanying measure, and one of these measure is the support to the higher education from experts, and we are working hand in hand with the UNICA network in order to provide technical assistance, training opportunities through different kind of events, international conference, and many of you are also familiar with the international conference. This is for 150, 200 people, mixing the Tempus experts with the Bologna experts from the EU member states and the EEA countries. We will have a next event in April, end of April, in the Autonomous University of Madrid, and that will be about cross-border education, joint degree, joint program. We also propose thematic seminars, and we will have 2 thematic seminars in 2013. The first one in 6 weeks' time in Lebanon about doctoral studies, together with Tempus experts and EU Bologna experts that we are inviting also to explain what is being organized in the EU. We have another one in Kyrgyzstan at the end of the year about financial autonomy in universities. And then we have another study visit next May in the Humboldt University in Berlin, and that will be about how to draft, how to design, how to propose curricula in English in order, among others, to facilitate mobility. You don't have this problem, of course, but in the other countries it is usually necessary to propose something in English in order to facilitate mobility. And then last but not least, we also propose an instrument which is called technical assistance, which is the opportunity for any country, Tempus country, through the National Tempus Office to request the assistance of an EU Bologna expert or Bologna expert, EU expert, Bologna or not, to come to their country in order to give conferences or workshops, or to discuss with the authorities, or to discuss with directors about a specific issue that they would like to develop. That means that it is also an opportunity for you to go from Morocco to Uzbekistan if the countries wants to inform their peers, the other peers, about what you are doing here. So this is a very unique opportunity, and several members here have used it several times. The process is very simple. We have a half-page form, and within 24 hours we give the approval, and then if the beneficiary do not have the appropriate speaker, UNICA finds the appropriate speaker in Europe, and then they take contact with each other in order to find an appropriate date. So it's very easy, and it's another opportunity for you, the hearers, for modernizing or discussing a reform or modernization or governance issue, management issue that is occurring in universities. A last word to tell you that I think also Klaus mentioned it yesterday morning, is that the Commission has proposed a new program to the Commission, to the European Parliament and the Council, which is called Erasmus for All, which will be an integrated program for the period 2014-2020, integrating all current programs in the field of higher education. Basically, the architecture in 2014 will be based around 3 pillars. A learning mobility pillar for staff, students and youth, and it will include the Erasmus program in Europe, but this Erasmus program will be now extended to the whole world. according to the same model as we use in the EU for the time being. We're going to have a second pillar for cooperation, and in this framework we will have capacity building actions, which are actually the successor of the Tempus program. But in addition to what we are doing currently in the framework of Tempus, we will add also a mobility component, meaning that if, for instance, different countries are submitting a proposal together in order to create a new curricula, we will also have the opportunity to have a top-up, which will be around 500,000 euros, so it's a good top-up, to also arrange mobility for the students in order to attend the new curricula. And also the new capacity component, the capacity building project will be extended to the whole world, not only the neighboring countries, for the program is open for the time being, but also for African countries, Latin America and Asia. And then the third pillar will be about policy reform, how to develop additional political relation with different countries in the field of higher education, how to develop further cooperation through dialogue, through exchange of best practices. And in this framework, we are now at the agency thinking about what could be the future for the higher education reform experts, and we will in the next coming months also organize some hearing, brainstorming, in order to have the feedback from the people and know what could be best organized, proposed to them for the next future. So I'm stopping there, and once again, thank you very much for the organization. Thank you for the King's College. Many thanks to Unica, of course, as usual. Thank you, John, also for your participation as a Bologna expert, and many thanks also to Ozan to attend the meeting. Ozan is the national contact point for the Tempus program in the UK. In the UK or in England? In the UK.
In the UK. And so I'd be very happy to receive emails from your correspondents if you are interested in working with institutions in the UK on Tempus proposals. So I'm one route through which you can form partnerships or contact UK institutions.
And to conclude, I would say also that the proposal that the Commission put forward to the Council and the Parliament, although it is a financial crisis situation in Europe, the budget that has been requested by the Commission is substantially higher than in the past, in order to underline the vision or the philosophy of the value of the Commission that higher education is not an expense, it's not an expenditure, but it's an investment for the future, for the brain of our people, for the development of the economy. So thank you very much indeed, and I hope to see you in the next meeting.
Can I make one final point before you go through a lunch?